In response to the displacement caused by the Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast of Nigeria, many humanitarian agencies are providing monthly assistance to affected families in the form of cash or vouchers instead of in-kind assistance. To present the issues involved in choosing a cash transfer service provider, I spoke to several key stakeholders. Which options did you consider in providing assistance, and why was cash or vouchers transfers selected?
We were trying to find a solution that kindly sort of brings a balance between security as well as meeting the needs of the people in the Northeast.
We saw the indicators for food was very high for both IDPs and host communities, and for that reason we felt it would be better to have a combined voucher system where we actually provide both the cash voucher and the food voucher system.
A variety of mechanisms are being used for transfers, such as ATM cards, smart cards, and mobile money by mobile phone. These mechanisms utilize the banking networks and mobile phone networks. The cash out function is achieved through the use of ATMs and contracted merchants like supermarkets or mobile kiosks. Banks in northeast Nigeria offer mobile money services, whereby money can be transferred via SMS message to mobile phones. Recipients of the message can then go to a cash out agent, present their code, and receive their money. Mobile phone companies often work in tandem with the banks, allowing bank customers to link their accounts to their mobile phones to enable a broad range of banking services. Despite limited mobile network coverage in the most affected states in northeast Nigeria, mobile cash transfers are being used to deliver humanitarian assistance to the most vulnerable IDP and host community members in urban locations such as Maiduguri. As banks and mobile phone companies seek to enhance their market share, humanitarian organizations these days have a wide range of options for choosing a cash transfer service provider. What options did you have for choosing a cash transfer service, and what were your criteria for choosing?
Because of the challenges in terms of connectivity and also infrastructure compromises due to the crisis in Yobe, we were not able to utilize either mobile money or banking system. We found out through our network of other colleagues and actors about the Red Rose One system, which is specifically designed to be used in complex operating environments. And because it was cashless, because it was a closed system, and also because it had gotten good reviews from other actors, we decided to try it out.
We decided to experiment with the e-voucher. We had a kilogram of vendors that we had to select from because the voucher system was acceptable by them. Right now, we're trying to scale up from 300 to about 600 e-voucher system in Yola, and we hope to do same in Mobi, given that internet and other necessary facilities will be conducive.
We had to look for a modality, a transfer modality, which will be favorable to both monitoring capacities and also providing this service, whether with communication or no communication.
Have you had any challenges to register people for the service?
For the product that we use, basically CRS functions as the bank. We don't use a bank that puts money into the cards. We liquidate our vendors directly after sales periods are completed. So because of that, we really have avoided needing to deal with any of the know your customer regulations.
You will hardly see them with the card until when they understand that the money is being credited to the account.
Distributing the cash is part of the challenge, especially for people with restricted mobility or illiteracy.
We use a network of volunteers at the grassroots level. It's in settlements across our target communities. And those volunteers work with all of the different beneficiaries. They know them well.
People with elderly, pregnant and lactating women, people with disability, I actually give preference to during the distribution of food or maybe cash.
We will sign small paper to them to go there and we are already verification. They receive their cash. That's why we are here. Since 1 week completely we are been starting make this work for the people to assist as a community leader.
Very good.
Yes.
And you know everybody, so you can verify that they receive.
Electronic record keeping has made monitoring programs easier, but agencies still face challenges and have made important changes to their projects.
Northeast Nigeria, basically it has its own sort of challenges, the biggest one being insecurity from the insurgents itself.
And using an e-voucher technology really helped us with that because we only had to do the distribution once, basically.
Coordination was a big challenge. A lot of actors were coming in at that time, and you want to know who is working where, what, and why. And that has really been solved with the cash technical working groups, the sector working groups that have been in place.
What recommendations do you have for the future?
I envisage a situation where maybe one day we all come together and pool our resources together in a one multi-purpose card system where we are all putting resources on one card so that each beneficiary will be able to access almost a full package of assistance.
Many other organizations are coming into this very state where we are, especially Adamawa. I would recommend that as they come, there should be the synergy to enable us to reach the unreached.
We can't control what people choose to buy, and that is actually a very, very good thing for people who are in the midst of crisis, that they're given autonomy and dignity in their purchasing power. And I think remembering that as a community and emphasizing that is really important as we're shifting from in-kind to cash.
Humanitarian organizations in northeast Nigeria grapple with the challenge of operating in an insecure environment. Despite this, successful cash transfer programs are running, using a variety of mechanisms, including paper vouchers, e-vouchers, mobile cash, and smart cards. These scalable mechanisms are increasingly favored by humanitarian organizations seeking to give greater choice to their beneficiaries and at the same time increase their ability to monitor their programs. Can you please summarize the service that you provide to humanitarian organizations?
We are currently working with one of the humanitarian organizations in disbursement of prepaid cards to IDPs in Maiduguri, Adamawa, and Yobe.
We're working currently with the World Food Programme to distribute cash to beneficiaries targeted in certain communities in the Northeast.
We just needed the organizations to identify those people, give us their names, and those of them that have phone numbers. We use that to create a POS for them, and we credit those POSes. But for mobile money, we just need their name, their phone number, and we use that to create e-wallets for them.
Are there any other partners you use to deliver your services?
We're partnering with Access Bank, who have the license, have the platform, we have the network of agents and the physical network infrastructure that provides the communication to that platform, to the beneficiary and to the agents.
In the interim, we are working with insurgency, and we are looking at partnering with any of the other telcos.
Could you outline any steps that you're taking to enabled these people to access your services?
For the illiterate, we use outbound dialing. We give them voice calls, so they don't have to get it by text. They can get it in a language and listen to the menu. We also have a network of retailers around. Frankly, the use of mobile phones has transcended all these barriers of literacy, has transcended mobility and co. For elderly people, we have the agents, the freelance agents, who can go to those areas.
We are using prepaid cards. Our ATMs, we are making sure they are quite well spread out. And with our partners too, we have what we call roving agents who can actually go to these people that, elderly people or people that can move around. Low KYC accounts collect 30,000 naira Nigerian money. But then further down the line, if we need to get an ID on you, maybe 100,000. And the more the funds that the beneficiaries are allowed to collect, the more it increases, the more we want to have more information on them.
What are the key security risks for operating in northeast Nigeria, and how do you mitigate against them?
We make payments most times in batches. We also make sure that our agents too have sufficient cash to attend to people, and we also make sure that these payments are made swiftly.
We do security assessment before we go anywhere. Then in case of disbursements, where we will have to disburse, we always operate within a walled area. And we have 3 or 4 layers of access control where we vet everybody that comes in before they come in.
What are the top 3 challenges in humanitarian cash transfers in the Northeast, and how have you solved them?
Our network has been compromised in some areas because of attacks. So what we've done is we have mobile base stations, cell on wheels cows, that we've deployed to that area. So working with the organization that's in need, for instance, the WFP, if they give us advance notice, we go to the place, set up the cell on wheels so that they can use their phones to access the service.
Okay, can you think of other ways that you've learned from your experience?
What we've learned is the right timely information, right timely reporting, and having a feedback loop through a hotline is very critical to the success of any cash-based transfer.
The increasing ubiquity of mobile phones make mobile transfers a sensible option in many parts of northeast Nigeria. Cellular coverage and electricity, however, are prerequisites for using this method. These services are backed up by banks, who have the appropriate license and can offer other banking services. The desire of these companies to increase their market share or expand services to those without bank accounts can meet with the needs of humanitarian organizations to provide large-scale, rapid cash transfers. Interesting services from Red Rose and Scope, provided by WFP, make the management of cash and voucher programs easier, right through the project cycle. These services allow for easier auditing and management of different components of the program, such as registration, post-distribution monitoring, and bank transactions. Could you please summarize the service that you provide to humanitarian organizations throughout the program cycle?
Red Rose is a secure, easy-to-use digital platform and enables NGOs and humanitarian actors to manage their programs for operational efficiency and to enable programs to remain fit for purpose.
Scope and IOM systems, which is the DTM, displacement tracking metrics, will ensure that there is a full life cycle monitoring of these beneficiaries. Wherever they will go, we will know where they came from, what they have received, and what they require at a given point.
It's also a process of a lot of sensitization. because the amount is per individual allocation. So we do train and inform the beneficiaries of what to expect and how to go about then operating the mobile service platform.
What we offer is a disbursement of funds to beneficiaries. But using the NFC solution which we have, we offer you a service where they can actually use the funds to buy goods and services that they require or that are targeted for the use of the beneficiaries.
What do you think differentiates you from other cash transfer solutions?
What we've tried to do in Red Rose is to facilitate and make this a lot easier for program management. So we have one system, and that's why we call it one system, that integrates the program management, the M&E and the beneficiary registration all on one platform, so it's fully integrated.
We equip the beneficiaries with cards, NFC-based cards, which are tied to their wallets, and we also equip merchants of different forms, including public service providers like hospitals, with POS or mobile POS devices. This enables them to take the money that's already stored on their wallet with the cards and make payments for the various services that they need.
Scope does not do only cash transfer. That makes Scope to be a bit different from others because we cover the full range of distribution modality. Scope has an incorporated tool that we call the Scope Business Intelligence. So we are able to see in real time how much money has been given where to who and by who.
Given that we've been able to use or put structures in place that have hence been able to address some of the challenges that we have faced, such as working with not only NEMA, SEMA, but in Yobe there's a university as well, who we have capacity build and are assisting us with the sensitization of. So in as much as, yes, there are challenges, we have put structures in place that are able to address to these challenges.
Have you had any troubles with data security? How are you solving this?
At every level of our platform, information is encrypted and we use industry standard data protection. So firstly, maybe looking at the vendor devices. These are vendor devices that are locked down so they can only be used with our application. So that means they can't be tampered with and they can't be hacked into. So also the information on the vendor device is encoded and encrypted so that there's no sensitive beneficiary information kept on that device.
Our data is cloud-based and it's stored in a UN International Computing Center, which means that all the security measures are in place. When it comes to now data handling locally, we make sure that there is a segregation of duty that is in place. People who are in charge of registering beneficiaries are not the ones who will approve those beneficiaries. They are not the one who will verify those beneficiaries. And people who create the cycles, for instance, the distribution cycles, are not the ones who will approve them, and so on and so forth.
What are the top learnings that you're taking away from this situation?
We have, as a standard, a 4-pin digital verification, and we find that sometimes the beneficiaries either lose that pin or they need help or assistance in using that pin with the vendor devices. So we've had a couple of solutions around this. The first has been around a color-coded pin for illiterate populations groups. The other thing is we're developing now is biometrics.
We have partnered with the local leaders so that we can first of all resolve the problem of identification of the beneficiaries. And also we implement a staggered system of delivering the SMS alert so that people don't flock in the same time to come to collect their SIM card and go to redeem their entitlements.
We tend to recruit from the communities because of familiarity. Again, dealing with too many unfamiliar people for traumatized folk is not exactly a helpful way to engage them. And so we try to take from the community, engage with them, and use the connections that we already have to enhance the products that we give.
Is your system open for other organizations to use, and how do they go about using it?
We are building running and transferring the system to NEMA when time comes. Any other organization that is interested to use SCOPE is welcome. Of course, they will need to adhere to WFP policy of data privacy.
Any NGO can use this system in any environment. The whole idea about being able to use our system offline, and that's the default, is that an NGO can operate in any environment, any complex environment, especially in insecure areas like northeast Nigeria.
What are your recommendations and predictions for the future of cash transfer programming?
I see cash transfers in the future being used not only for humanitarian purpose, but even for governments who want to redistribute the wealth to people.
People understand cash is the cheapest mode of operation or cheapest modality to get money to beneficiaries. The take-up's only around 4% of the total humanitarian budget. So why is that? And that's because there's a lack of accountability and transparency. So as we, as a private sector company, deal with security and transparency and accountability around these issues, making the systems more secure and transparent, then hopefully donors and the public will it will enable them to have a greater confidence in these systems, and therefore more money, which should be more efficient if it's through cash, will be allocated through systems like Red Rose.
SCOPE, Red Rose and similar technologies that can manage cash transfer programming are rapidly becoming standard for humanitarian agencies. The existence of close links between the developers and humanitarian providers is likely to result in rapid change in how information on cash transfer programming and other programming is managed. It's fair to say that we all look forward to further developments in this sector.